Look, before we get started, I need to explain that none of this is supposed to scare you as much as it is to educate you. Yes, I know that there is a picture flashing of Earth, the one side of it burning to a crisp, but still, nothing scary. Now let's get started. Let's start by explaining what this thing called climate change, which was once called global warming, is. The simplest way to explain this is that the Earth's temperature is rising thanks to our burning of fossil fuels and so much more. Yeah, we're basically destroying our own home. Now, as for whether or not climate change is real, you can take a look at some of these clues here. There's rising sea levels, warmer oceans, stronger storms, more droughts and wildfires, like in places like California. There's less snow and ice at the top of mountains, and many other things. You might be
In
thinking to yourself, well,
1992,
does
they
it matter
measured
that all
this
this is
amount of
happening?
melting in
The answer is
Greenland.
yes, it
10
does,
years
because it
later,
will get
this is what
worse.
happened.
The rising
And
sea levels
here's the
could cause
melting from
devastation.
2005.
You may remember this now infamous clip
Tony
from the
Blair,
documentary
scientific
An
advisor,
Inconvenient
has
Truth.
said that because of what's happening in Greenland right now, the maps of the world will have to be redrawn. If Greenland broke up and melted, or if half of Greenland and half of West Antarctica broke up and melted, this is what would happen to the sea level in Florida. This is what would happen to San Francisco Bay. A lot of people live in these areas. The Netherlands, one of the low countries, absolutely devastating. The area around Beijing, that's home to tens of millions of people. Even worse, in the area around Shanghai, there are 40 million people. Worse still, Calcutta, and to the east, Bangladesh, the area covered includes 60 million people. Think of the impact of a couple 100,000 refugees when they're displaced by an environmental event. And then imagine the impact of 100 million or more. Here's Manhattan. This is the World Trade Center Memorial Site. And after the horrible events of 9/11, we said never again. But this is what would happen to Manhattan. They can measure this precisely, just as the scientists could predict precisely how much water would breach the levees in New Orleans. The area where the World Trade Center Memorial is to be located would be underwater.
The glaciers are melting now in the Arctic regions of the world, and the polar bear species is becoming extinct. Al Gore was right about the World Trade Center flooding. Just look at what happened during Hurricane Sandy. Where do we stand now with climate change? Well, we were making improvements during President Obama's term. Bills were being put in place to lower the CO2 levels all over the world and forcing nations to use all kinds of solar panels and wind turbines for more efficient and clean energy. The Dakota pipeline was a thing of the past, and it was looking up for our blue planet. Yeah, those were real tweets from the current President of the United States. They were once a very concerning viewpoint. Although Trump's administration has so far not backed out of the UN Paris Summit deal, and the plans for the Dakota Access Pipeline have been put on hold. Trump could still pose a huge threat if he decides to do either of these two things.
Although its consequences
Here's
can be
Bill
very
Nye to
threatening,
explain how we can help.
scientists still believe there are things we can do on a personal level to help. Recycle and reuse things. Walk or use public transportation to get to work. Turn off your electronics when you're not using them. Eat less meat. While you're at it, eat more locally grown vegetables and foods. And last but not least, spread your knowledge and concerns about climate change with others. When it comes to climate change, the main takeaway is that it's real. And although we are part of the cause, we can also be part of the solution.
If there's anything that I hope you've taken away from this video, it's that we can still help save our planet and preserve our Earth for future generations to come. Thanks for watching.